Shout out Q. Shout out Q.
Maybe, but since the last call up in this one, has anything been like communicated in terms of expectations or like just really anything national team wise that might have come from Emma or the coaching staff?
Not really, honestly. Okay. I think when we're at our club, they try and just let our coaches obviously coach us because we're focused on this. So when we get back into camp, I'm sure there'll be more one-on-one meetings like there was last time and going over film from last camp. So I'm excited to get back in there and keep learning.
We've had some time to digest Saturday's game. What have you thought maybe in terms of the formation change, especially? I know you said after the game that it's not completely unfamiliar, but in terms of executing the team's goals, what have you thought since, post-game? You've had some time to think about it.
Yeah, I still think we executed pretty well. We played way better than we did the first week, so we did execute the game plan and what we were trying to do. Once we got into the final third, I think we need to be more calm and get more numbers in the box, but that's comes with time, and we've been working on that this week, so hopefully that gets better.
And can you just take me back to the call-up and getting the opportunity to play at the national level? Just what is that like in general? That must be a great honor for a player to get a call-up. What's that like in your mind?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's always been my dream, so I get chills every time I get the call-up, and I'm just so excited and happy and just want to keep learning that system and developing more so I can keep doing well there.
Tara, it's still early on in the season. Just what are you guys working towards? It wasn't the outcome you guys wanted, obviously, the weekend, but I hear you talking about, playing better even though it wasn't a loss. Just what are you guys working on so early in the season? You guys know there's plenty of matches to go still.
I think just trying to get our rhythm back. We were in pretty good form last year at the end of the season, even though we had a lot of injuries, and this year we started out with a lot of injuries. So just getting players the reps and the chemistry on the field as a team, because maybe we haven't played as much together. But yeah, just trying to get our rhythm and attack more.
And you mentioned the chemistry as well, trying to build that early in this long season. How huge is that? And I know you've played with a lot of these players previously last year, but how huge is that to get that chemistry set up when it comes to crunch time moments later in the season, what have you?
Yeah, it's huge, especially I feel like once you know your teammates' tendencies and what they like to do, then you're just setting them up for success, which ends up setting our team up for success. So once we all figure out someone likes to run behind more than get it at their feet, then we'll understand how to break down opponents better, because we're getting these players playing to their strengths as well.
BFC at Audi. Last time you guys played Bay at Audi was a fun one. Yeah. Just what can we expect on Saturday? I know it's still early. Both these teams still trying to kind of get their footing, but what can you expect taking on Bay once again at the Rowdy Audi?
I mean, both the games against them have been crazy at Audi, so I hope we're up by a few more goals this time, but I hope the fans in the crowd get into it like they did last time, and it's just so much fun when we play at home.
Tara, I was wondering a little bit within the system change. Some of the times Lacey would step high, so Rumi is kind of alone as a 6, but obviously if the other team breaks, there's like gaps to either side of her that I assume you and Esme have to like step and fill those. In those moments, like how easy or difficult was that? Because I'm thinking of the gap between Rumi and the wingbacks is big, so you have to step in there. Was that an easy situation to work through, or is it still like fine tuning?
I think it's still fine tuning, but it's also just like instincts. Like if the threat is behind, we're gonna drop. But if there's like no threat running on our shoulder, then we have the ability to step in there. So it's also just reading the moments of the game.
Looking ahead at Bay, obviously you mentioned a threat in behind. I'm thinking of Oshwala and Kundananji. It's a lot of threat in behind. How much does that change things as opposed to last week, where obviously Chewinga is always a threat in behind, but Dabinia was always dropping off?
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of going into the same mindset, just like winning your 1v1 battles and knowing, like watching film on both of them and knowing their tendencies. Like you said, Dabinia loves the ball at her feet, but maybe these players like to go behind, so we're going to drop first before we give them that space so that they could get the ball in front, and then maybe there's no threat behind us.
If Kundananji decides to stand on the ball like she did last year, what's the response to that from you as a center back, beyond just like maybe not getting caught by the move that follows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe don't do that. No, I'm kidding, but just, yeah, try not to get beat after.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, just going back to the call-up, playing your season with the Washington Spirit and transitioning to the national level, what is that like, sort of making that transition temporarily from the season here, then you get a break to play internationally, then coming back? What is that sort of transition like in your mind?
I don't really find it like very much of that big of a transition. I think the level's so high here that when I go into camp, I feel ready and prepared for the level that's high there. And then of course, like it's the national level, so it's like the best competition there. And then so when I come back, I feel like I've learned even more and even more prepared to go into the next game with Spirit.
Does it make any sort of difference that you're jumping in and you have different teammates at the national level, or is that not really an issue in your mind?
I don't think it's an issue, but I think it's fun to play with different players and get that chemistry as well with them and click with them on the field. So yeah, I look forward to going and playing with amazing players as well.
How is training on a day when it's this windy?
It's crazy. Yeah, we had to like cut set pieces today because I mean, yeah, exactly. It's not going to really do us much benefit, but
yeah, talking to Sam, it was like we might be ending early, and
yeah.
I was like, it's got to be the wind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine that this is like short corner weather.
Yeah, exactly. Just pass it.
Yeah.
In the cold weather like this, does that help you in a sense when it's like when there's a cold, windy game, you get prepared for situations like that if the weather turns a little bit more south?
Yeah, I think whatever like we train in, we're always like prepared for the game coming on the weekend. I like to play in the cold, so I don't mind it. The heat is when it starts getting a little crazy.
So big surprise, national team questions. Last time we spoke, and I think you and Emma both said like it's kind of a mutual decision in the last camp that it was not quite the right time. How are you feeling in between now and then that has made it the right time to come back?
Yeah, I think obviously now that I've had minutes, I thought it was then smarter to be able to be in camp, be able to play for one. So when we had decided last camp for me not to come in, it was solely based off of me not getting minutes and not wanting to take attention away from the players that actually needed minutes and time and just like training under Emma. Like I didn't want to be there and just be like, I need treatment. So yeah, I think I'm really happy to be in camp, and I hope she is too. And I'm excited to now go into another game this week and get more minutes hopefully, and then keep building off of that international team.
Do you have a picture on how, like, I don't know if Jonah doesn't want you to give this away, but like, do you know how many minutes it is maybe your limit at this point?
Honestly, like every day it's kind of different just based off of how I'm reacting throughout training, and honestly just how tired I'm getting, because the way that I play is very explosive and I run a good amount. So I think just getting that exposure back has been pretty tough, going from return to play into straight games. So it's a day-to-day. We're having conversations every single day, but obviously we're going to keep going up, but not an exact time.
How's it been to sort of manage that where it is sort of uncertain day-to-day or week-to-week, where I can only imagine you're like, I would love for this to just be resolved entirely. How are you dealing with that side of it?
Yeah, I think it's been honestly kind of tough. Being a player that didn't really deal with any injuries at all, I felt like a little kid just running around, never getting tired. And now dealing with a back injury that's been kind of like undiagnosed in a way, but still crippling to an extent. So it's been tough because even week to week when I'm feeling good, I'm like, guys, I got 60 in me, I promise. And then I'm going in for 35. So yeah, just trying to be more responsible about it. Them telling me it's okay, we have a long season, you're good. So yeah, that the mental part's been hard, but I think it's been managed really well. Yeah.
You guys get BFC at Audi this weekend. You guys tend to play some exciting games against BFC at Audi recently. Just what can you expect taking them on early on in the season, and what do you guys look to accomplish other than a win?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're starting off with playoff games right now. Like last week it felt crazy. No, I'm very excited to play them again, and didn't play them that long ago, but it was a really good game, and I think we're able to build off of that and kind of take a little bit of last weekend's game against Kansas and implement some of our defensive shape with that, and hopefully being able to exploit them the way that we want to. But they're a good team, and I think they're going to keep building, being so new. But yeah, I'm very excited, and I think it'll be another crazy game.
So early on in this season, you guys have so many players out and playing minimum minutes and whatnot. Just how do you guys kind of keep the focus when things might not be going your way, at least result-wise?
I think just focused on our individual improvements and performances. I think throughout the season it's good to kind of look at the big picture, but right now I think it's almost the opposite of like go in there, do what you need to do, stay healthy, and just like do your role to the best of your ability, and also like how much it's fluctuated and how people are going to have to maybe switch positions, I think has been not tough but different for us, just with how many players we do have out, key players that we have out. So for us it's just like being open-minded, being able to be adaptable, and just keeping our head down.
I'm just curious. They announced the home opener, record attendance, a sellout. You've been with this team for quite some time. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that aspect. Obviously not getting the win, but the support that was given to this team this past Saturday, what did that mean to you?
I mean, it means the world. I think from my rookie year to now, the growth that I've seen has been incredible, and I think not only is it just because we're doing well and we're playing well, I think the effort that we put in with our fans, the connections that we have with them, I think it's a family, and I think that's what the fans enjoy about coming to Audi is it's an experience. It's not just watching people kick a soccer ball around. So I know I always say, like, I wish I could be in the crowd sometimes being part of that experience, but it's always amazing. And then during the game when you can see that on the board while you're playing is also just like so supportive and so encouraging. So hopefully that continues throughout the season.
I wanted to ask you both, talking to Tara as well, the system change in place over the weekend, there were moments where Lacey had to step high, which leaves Rumi with room to either side. I'm curious from both of your perspectives. Obviously, Esme, you have to maybe step high into those spaces. Gabby, you might have to come in certain situations. How do you handle that balance? Because it is kind of a big challenge to cover that much space, and especially in those pockets where it's so dangerous if the opposing team gets the ball.
Yeah, I think having Rumi and Lacey able to float about a bit more, I think gets the best out of them. They're such intelligent, technical players, pick up really good positions, so I feel like them having the freedom to kind of move as they please is really positive. And as you said, it's just us recognising then where we need to fill. I know we spoke post-game about trying to get the wing backs sort of higher and tucked in on the opposite side to be able to join in the attacks more and secure for the transition too. And then as centre backs, as you say, it's just when the ball swings around, I think we can when the opposition aren't jumping. I think Kansas City's wingers were quite high, which meant there wasn't that much space for the wide centre-backs to kind of move forward. But if teams play differently and they're a team who kind of squeezes one side, then as we're able to switch the ball, definitely there's going to be loads of opportunity for myself on the outside and then the wing back to be able to step forward and go 2v1 in the wide areas.
Yeah, this formation is really fun for outside backs / wing backs. You get loads of opportunities to get higher into the attack, but obviously like every formation has its like advantages, disadvantages. Like the advantage of having so many numbers that we can put forward is also that in the middle we only have 2 players, but Rumi and Lacey, like, they're pretty good players to have in the middle, and we're really lucky to have them.
You mentioned, or as we mentioned, or you both mentioned, the ability to get high as a wing back. I know Jonah after the game said that maybe that was a thing that the team overall needs to work on, is getting both the wing backs and the wide forwards a little more involved. What did you see in the game that maybe were moments where you're like, we could have taken advantage in this period? What was maybe the missing ingredient?
Yeah, for sure. As Ez said, on a switch is when you'll get so much joy from that wide space because the opponents are tucked in, and then I think we kind of missed a few opportunities where we had all that space wide, and we didn't take it.
Yeah, I think as well, like, it's difficult in a team that has Chawinga, for example, like, you're always mindful of the transition and wanting to kind of be extra secure on the counter-attack, so then maybe a little more reluctant to throw as many bodies forward. But I think that's just something that comes with the formation now, getting more comfortable in it and being able to trust the security that we do have, and maybe pulling a midfielder in just to screen in front. I think it's just one of the things that as you get more used to a system, those things become more natural and you recognise the moments to be able to join in a bit better.
And when he mentioned the system change and everything, and how well this team plays well together. I know one of the previous interviews today they mentioned team chemistry and how early you're getting that set. How huge is having a good team chemistry translates to getting the system set in the correct way when it comes to later games in the season and the pressures on the line in a sense?
I think having good relationships with all of the girls is so helpful in just being able to find solutions together. Like, if something's not working within the game, we're very comfortable challenging and kind of demanding what we need from one another, but in a way where we know it's constructive. We have a lot of respect and love for each other, so we care about helping one another on the pitch. So if someone's seeing something, then I feel like we're really open to getting on the same page and finding solutions together.
For sure, and just like last year's beginning of season compared to this year, I think last year it was clear that we were kind of still trying to figure it out. This year, a lot of us are back, and we've created those relationships, so there's already this kind of confidence. We know each other, and I feel like we're already a step ahead than we were last year.
Esme, I wanted to ask, obviously going into the England squad, you've been back and forth now a few times having to deal with that cross-Atlantic kind of trip. I am kind of wondering, one, how you've approached that, because it's a new challenge to fly from Dulles to England to insert, opponent country. And then also, are you getting a lot of questions from your teammates about life in NWSL?
Yeah, second part of the question, they're always asking about it, like how I'm finding it, what I think of the games, what I think of the league. A lot of them watch games from the NWSL, so they'll have seen results and stuff. So yeah, loads of questions. And with regards to the travel, I feel like it takes me a couple of days on either end to kind of get my body fully with it. But I'm getting used to it now. I take my own pillow everywhere, so that helps me be as comfortable as possible. Yeah, I carry my pillow on the plane and everything with me, so try and get as much sleep as I can on the plane journey over, and then once I'm there, I just try and stay awake as long as possible and then have a good night's sleep. But yeah, just a couple of days to get used to it, and then I'm with it again.
How was that first session, trying to come through, like staying awake as long as possible and then possibly having to go out and train in the middle of all that?
Yeah, well, luckily the first day is generally like a recovery, gym, media appearances kind of day. So, to be honest, last time I did feel like I was a bit away with the fairies while I was doing my media stuff. I'm not entirely sure what I said, but didn't seem to be any problems come up from it. So I must have been partially coherent at least.
And what does that mean to you to get the opportunity to get that call up?
I love it. I love being able to go home and play for England. Like, it's such a source of pride for me and my family. So I feel very lucky to have the opportunity, and I've really been enjoying going back and seeing all the girls, being a part of the team, and being able to see my family briefly as well at the games.
Jonah, I wanted to first ask about the formations change now that you've had some time to really analyze the game. You were fairly happy with the performance, just maybe not the final third, perhaps. How do you feel about it now that you've had some time to watch the film?
Defensively, I think we did a good job in the high press and also the mid-block, in the way that we've been defending Tenwa, one of the best players in the league. But just not Tenwa, it's Deviña, Cooper. We know the level of the team that we faced the other day, and understanding the circumstance, I think we can say that we did a good job. We got 10 corners attacking. That's because we've been creating chances. So we cannot be happy for sure for the result. But I think in terms of in the way that we were attacking, occupying spaces, creating chances, I'm happy. And obviously we need to improve in the last meters to, especially to score goals.
Obviously, the way that you played it, when Lacey steps high and gets closer to the front three, if play breaks the other way, Rumi's got a lot of space to either side of her. I was just talking to Tara about that need for the outside center backs to step into that space sometimes. How do you think defending those pockets, because that's the half space to either side, how did that aspect of things go?
Yeah, it's a good point, especially for me. It's just not about the defender center backs. It's about the channel where we are when the other team is occupying the spaces and how we have to jump, especially when midfielders are jumping, especially when the strikers are jumping. I think if we have a good communication, and I think we are having a good communication, and also in the first line, depending on the height of the fullback, how you are adapting your press. It's not the same when the fullback is high, when the fullback is low, especially when, as we did the last game, playing with 3 strikers, you have to do some adjustments. But being now in the beginning of the season, I am happy because it's something that we were doing pretty well last season. Probably not the best, the same shape, but with the same content, with the same idea. Depending on my zone, I don't like to defend 1v1, whole pitch. So I like to, depending on my zone, what is my responsibility to make sure that everything what we are doing out of possession is always connected. You can win and lose challenge for sure, but in terms of tactics, I am very happy.
Thinking ahead, I saw it's kind of hard to tell who was out here because of the players with hoods on, but I saw it looked like Courtney's training. Rose and Kate were off to the side. You mentioned after the game that some players are coming back. Can you share maybe who's on the right path to possibly be available?
They are better than the last week. Heather, Courtney, I think they are having good feelings in the training session. So Sila, she was being part of the team the other day, just dressing, for be available for the game. But the most important thing, as I told you last week, try to be with the team. I think it's an important step. But this week, I think those 3 players are gonna be available to play. Again, we have to train tomorrow. I don't wanna to advance anything because I don't want to commit any mistake. But yeah, we think that those 3 players they could be available for the next game.
Timeline for Hal. It looked like a classic ankle sprain. So
yes,
is it that kind of time frame?
It's being honest, I don't have the exactly timeline.
Sure.
I know that more or less will be around 4-6 weeks, but we don't know 100%. I don't want to say a number of weeks because I don't have that information. They want to be. They want to make sure that everything what she is doing is well, and she will be back. I know that she's a strong player. The personality that she has. She's feeling well. I mean, you are seeing her today, and she feels very, very well. But we want to make sure that everything what's going on in the recovery has to be perfect. To make sure when she's back, she has to be 100% to have the team.
With the injuries, Coach, I'm just curious with players who have had to step up in other people's absences, if you will. Just what have you seen out of your team with the injuries and how they've played so far, their performance just overall?
Obviously, when you don't have full availability players, I always say that it's a good opportunity for other players to do an step on and try to, for example, as we did in the final with Chloe, with Brit. Probably they didn't play a lot last season, but they had the chance to play a final, the Challenge Cup game, and we won that game. So for me, when you see the big picture, I prefer for sure have 26 players available for each game, but when you don't have the full availability players, you have to analyze what other players can do to make sure that in any moment they are going to be important. And obviously, as I always say, I don't like just to speak about 2-3 players. I always like to speak about the team, because the team is the most important thing, and we have to be the same competitive team. It doesn't matter who is playing. We need to face all games, understanding that we have to compete for winning. And then if we have a full availability, I'm gonna be happy. If not, we have to look other ways. Don't put excuse, because if not, we can spread that bad energy to the players. If we say that, bad luck, we have too many players injured, maybe we are not gonna put the focus in the most important thing. So for me, as I always say, try to see that injuries as an opportunity for other players to make a step on and improve.
Coach, you guys sell out Audi this past weekend. Unfortunately, not getting the outcome you want. You guys kind of get like a second chance at hopefully getting a win this weekend against a BFC team you guys play very, very close. It feels like. Just what's the expectation and what are the hopes as you guys try to bring home a win against Audi for the first time this year?
When you play well, you are gonna be closer to get the win. I never like to speak about win or lose. I like to speak, as I said personally the last week, after playing in Houston or after playing against Orlando, that we need to improve. It doesn't matter that we won. We have to analyze what we did on the field, and we have to give them a reason to the supporters. If we deserve the victory, they are gonna be there. We know that. So last week I was upset because we didn't get the result. We didn't get the 3 points, because what they were doing last season was amazing in terms of supportive. And this season we want to give them the opportunity to enjoy about 3 points before the national team break. It was incredible atmosphere last week, and we need to repeat that. I mean, they are going to be very important for the season. I think last one they did enjoy a lot. We enjoy a lot, all players, all staff. So we want to create the same type of environment around the players, around the team. Every game that we play at home, Audi Field Stadium must be our home, when we feel comfortable, when the atmosphere is always in our advantage. So we would like to, score more goals than the other team, get 3 points and give them the victory, because they deserve it.